Thanks for staying with us. This is Newsline, and we're talking about whether Hong Kong should spend almost $50 billion on bringing the Asian Games to Hong Kong. With me is Mr. Eddie Chan, and he is the man responsible for trying to bring the Games to Hong Kong. Now, Mr. Chan, we talked about, well, you justified trying to bring the Games to Hong Kong, and we clarified the $50 billion. You're saying that of the $50 billion or $45 billion thereabouts. At today's prices, not the prices of when we wanted Games to be here, which is 2023. At today's price, it's going to cost about $45 billion to 50, and you're saying that about $30 billion of that would be spent anyway, $35 billion on building sporting facilities for Hong Kong. 15 billion, 1.5, will go to the Asian Games. Now, since the government made this proposal about bringing the Games to Hong Kong a couple of months ago, there's been quite a bit of controversial public debate on it. Some people, sporting people, say, yeah, we should bring it. I think the public say, whoa, that's a lot of money. Maybe we should spend it on something else. And the public opinion so far has been more against it than for it.
Yes, I think you're right, Michael. I think, at the time when we launched the consultation exercise, I think, the first 2-3 weeks were not too encouraging, and I think mainly because the media keep mentioning this figure of $45 billion for hosting the Games.
Which you've now clarified.
Yes.
But people have lumped it together.
Yes, that's right. But I think it's important for me to point out time and time again that it is not $45 billion. It is $15 billion. But I do accept that $15 billion is still a lot of money.
At today's prices.
That's right, and that's why we are going out our way to explain to the community, how that estimates has come about. And what we are trying to say is that, okay, if we want to host the Games in 2023, then $15 billion is something that we must spend. If we don't spend that amount of money, then you can't stage it. But for the other $30 billion is something that the government has already had in mind for providing the various sports facilities to the community with or without Asian Games. But if we do not host the Asian Games, then the time that it would take for us to provide would be much longer.
For the $30 billion.
So, yeah, we are saying that the Asian Games would actually be the vehicle or the catalyst.
But even without the Asian Games, the government can do it early. Why not do it early?
Because
with or without the Asian Games, the government can build the other facilities early.
In that case, we would then need, because there is no single purpose that we need to achieve within 13 years.
The purpose is to provide sporting facilities for Hong Kong people.
And in that case, it would then need to compete with other projects on a year-to-year basis.
So why shouldn't it compete with other projects if we do have the Asian Games?
If we have, or if we are committed, to bring the Games to Hong Kong within, the next 13 years, then we definitely have a very tight time frame.
But that sounds like blackmail to me, Mr. Chan. You're saying if we bring the Asian Games to Hong Kong, we'll build these facilities for Hong Kong people. If you don't want the Asian Games, you're going to have to wait for these facilities. That sounds like blackmail.
No, it's not. It's not blackmail. It is actually basically a matter of how we bring the facilities to the community in an ordinary day-to-day way. I mean, if you look at district facilities for a start, we are still. If we look at the Hong Kong planning standards, what it says about how many facilities we need, in accordance with our population growth. We are still lagging behind with 19, indoor games hall that we could not provide. And we've been talking about these 19 indoor games for a long
failure not to provide sporting facilities.
And that's how we would. That's how we provide facilities on a year-to-year basis. And that's why I'm saying if we are committed, to bring the Games to Hong Kong within the next 13 years, then the sense of urgency
would be greater.
Much
okay, you tell me this then. As far as I know, the political parties have more or less given the Asian Games a thumbs down. They think it's too much money. You were going to consult the public. You'd given a few weeks for consultation. I think it was going to end in early November. But now you've extended the deadline. It's now it's going to end at the consultation will end
1st of December.
1st of December. So people still got a couple more weeks.
Yes.
to decide. But public opinion is running against you.
Well, again,
Looks like you're going to be out of a job. There's not going to be any bid.
as I said, at the first 2 to 3 weeks, after we've launched the consultation exercise, I think the public was not very much encouraged by the fact that we need to spend 40 billion. But having explained how we actually come up with the figures, I think we are now receiving more and more support from the community, and more submissions are now coming our way to say that they think it would be a good thing for Hong Kong to do so. And so we are receiving more written submissions and also online discussion forums.
Which way you think it's going to go on December the 1st?
Well, it is still too early to go to conclude yet. I think
you will have no regrets if people say no, we don't want it.
Well, I think it would be disappointing. It would be very disappointing.
And you'll be out of a job.
It's not actually me out of a job. I mean, it is actually if you look at our young athletes, actually what we are saying is we are investing for our next generation. We are trying to build up a strong sport culture for Hong Kong, which we haven't got at this stage.
Would you say the government has failed in that regard?
I won't say the government has failed, but I think the people has made up their mind, has made a choice. And if that is the choice that they made, then I think it would only say that it would be a much difficult job for the government to go on, to build up this very strong sporting culture that we want to build. The job would be harder.
But Mr. Chan, I think even if public support does grow at the end of the consultation period on December the 1st, the major political parties, the DAB, the Democrats, they are all not supportive of it. And they've got to vote the funds in the Legislative Council, right? If they say no, it's dead anyway, isn't it? Well, and they've said no. As of today, they've said no.
Well, I think that political parties' support is very important. Obviously, at the end of the day, we have to go to LegCo, for the funds, and it is important. And that's why it is important for us to make use of the remaining 3 to 4 weeks to go on to explain to the Hong Kong public, what it means to Hong Kong by bringing the games over. And I think at the end of the day, I would like to think that political parties would listen, to what the public has to say, and as I said, there appears to be a little bit more support, coming from the public.
You detect a spike in support.
Yes, that's right. Yes, and we would definitely work a lot more harder, within the next few weeks, to try to explain the situation.
Well, we'll see what happens. But there are a lot of people who say that trying to bring the games to Hong Kong, staging the Asian Games in Hong Kong, it's just one big ego trip for Hong Kong.
No, I don't think so. At the end of the day, I think it is very easy
and
for
that
people
guys
to
actually
think in that way.
Half-hearted in it. A lot of people saying you're not putting your whole heart into it.
No,
you're just going through the motions.
It's not true. I think it is very easy for people to say that it is an ego trip, but it is not, because you've got to look at what's happening in the past anyway. We, in the past 5 years, the government has actually committed substantial resources in trying to support, the development of sports associations in Hong Kong. We spend a lot of resources in building up this Hong Kong Sports Institute, to train our elite athletes, and that's why we have seen amazing performances, from our athletes in the last Asian Games.
The East Asian Games, we won 1 gold medal for soccer, but it didn't leave a lasting impression.
Well, I think, we need to build on that.
People say it failed.
We need to build on that, Michael. I think, we need to build on the success, of our athletes. People are also saying, we are allowing success to ruin or to take over our sensibilities. But when you look at the whole thing, I think it is only appropriate that government does ride on the back of the success of something that we have done well.
But there can be failures. Look at what happened, the horrible experience that India had with the Commonwealth Games. Aren't you afraid of that?
Well,
something things can easily go wrong.
Yeah, I agree. You know, things would easily go wrong, but
India came out of it with the worst image, and they went into it.
But we are looking, you know, into the next 13 years. You know, we still have 13 years for us to make preparations. And I'm not saying that all will be well. I mean, I'm sure, you know, we will still be encountering various difficulties that we have not foreseen at this day, you know. But I think, you know, with a lot of community expectation and with a lot of monitoring from the media, from political parties, I'm sure, you know, we would be able to, you know, to take on the challenge.
In your heart, I've just got a couple of minutes left. In your heart, Mr. Chen, do you think that public opinion supports the Asian Games and we will eventually stage it?
Well, I think if we do have community support to stage the Asian Games, then I think, you know, we do have a very strong case for Hong Kong to do it. But at the end of the day, I mean, Hong Kong has to compete, you know, with other neighboring cities for the right to host the Asian Games.
Who are the other cities competing for it in 2023?
We don't know at this moment because I think they would only announce, you know, the competing cities this Friday, you know, when the Asian Games in Guangzhou would then be open.
Okay, so there'll be other cities competing with Hong Kong.
Yes.
Certainly not another Chinese city, I don't think, because Guangzhou is already hosting the Games next week, right? Okay, I just want to ask you one last question here. If we do get the Games, it's a very big if the public wants to have the Games, and if we do get it, you tell me, you're sitting here, you tell me, do you think things will go exactly right or things will go horribly wrong?
Well, I don't have a crystal ball here to say that things will go really well or things would really go wrong. You know, all I'm trying to say that if we, you know, do have a mandate, you know, we do have the support of the Hong Kong people, you know, to bid, you know, for the rights, and if we do get the right to host it, then I'm sure, you know, a lot of
people want to have it.
That's
I'm
right.
going to wrap it up, but good luck, you know, to see whether you can bid for the Games or not. Good luck. Thanks for watching Newsline. See you next week. Good evening.